It is not the failure of others to appreciate your abilities that should trouble you, but rather your failure to appreciate theirs. Confucius. Have you ever wondered what truly shapes who we are and how we interact with the world around us in a life full of upheaval and challenges? We often face stressful situations, tangled relationships and emotions that are not easy to resolve amidst these difficulties. Stoicism, and ancient philosophy that shines with timeless values, brings us peace and strength to overcome it all. Stoicism is not just a philosophy of life, but a profound mirror reflecting human nature. When we delve into it, we realize that there are fundamental truths about humanity that we need to accept. These truths, though sometimes difficult to face, are the keys to unlocking understanding and compassion. They help us become more tolerant, empathetic, and appreciative of the beautiful values in each person. Let's explore together the 10 truths about humanity through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Each truth is a valuable lesson, a step forward on the path to becoming a better version of ourselves. This is an inspiring journey where we not only find peace, but also discover the inner strength in each step of life. Let Stoic philosophy guide you, helping you find peace and steadfastness in your soul, regardless of life's storms. Are you willing to accept the challenge and explore the true strength within yourself together? We will uncover the secrets of humanity and find the path to a more fulfilled, harmonious life. Let's start now experiencing and bring the wonderful principles of Stoic philosophy to realize that each truth is a key to opening the door to genuine understanding and empathy. Number 1. How experiences shape us all. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Have you ever paused to reflect on how life experiences have shaped you into the person you are today? Stoic philosophy teaches us that everything we go through leaves a profound mark, influencing our thoughts, actions, and perceptions of the world. Experiences are the building blocks of who we are. Each, joy, sorrow, success, and failure, contributes to the formation of our identity. Epictetus, one of the famous Stoic philosophers, said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them." This means that it is our reaction and perspective on experiences that determine who we are. Consider the life of Jesus Christ. He faced many trials and tribulations, from being misunderstood and betrayed to suffering on the cross. However, these experiences demonstrated the power of love, forgiveness, and patience. Jesus taught us that through endurance and steadfast faith, we can overcome any challenge and become stronger. Have you ever felt that a painful experience transformed you positively? It is often during tough times that we learn the most valuable lessons. Indeed, just as steel is tempered through fire, people also become stronger through challenges. Stoic philosophy advises us to embrace all experiences with calmness and view them as opportunities for learning and growth. When we recognize that every experience brings a valuable lesson, we will no longer fear or avoid difficulties. Instead, we will welcome them with gratitude and serenity, knowing that everything happens for a reason and contributes to making us stronger and wiser. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control our reactions by seeing every experience as part of the life journey. We will find strength and inner peace. Let life's experiences be a great teacher, helping you progress on the path to self-improvement. Experiences are the architects of our character and perspective. Each of us is molded by the events, circumstances, and people we encounter throughout life. Just as clay is shaped by the potter's hands, we are shaped by our trials and victories. A person who grows up in adversity may develop resilience, while someone who has led a life of privilege might struggle with empathy. In this sense, it's crucial to understand that the actions of others are often the result of experiences we can't see or fully comprehend. Consider how different species evolve distinct traits based on their environment. Just as a cactus has adapted to store water in a desert, humans adapt to their surroundings emotionally and mentally. This means that someone who appears cold or distant may have learned to protect themselves from emotional harm. Stoicism teaches us to remain detached and non-judgmental about others' behavior because we can't always know the paths that shape them. In Stoicism, this realization encourages us to view people with a sense of understanding and compassion. By accepting that everyone's experiences are unique, we release the desire to control or change others. We begin to understand that each person's journey is their own, and our role is not to judge, but to learn from the differences. When we adopt this mindset, we can face the harsh truth that others will not always align with our expectations. Yet, instead of frustration, this knowledge brings peace. Just as an artist mixes various colors to create a masterpiece, life blends a palette of experiences that shape who we are. The lesson here is to accept others as they are, imperfect, evolving, and shaped by factors beyond their control. This understanding frees us from the need to fix or change others. It is a reminder that we too are still being shaped by life, and in that process, we are all constantly learning and growing. Stoic philosophy encourages the acceptance of what we cannot change. The more we practice this, the more peace we find in relationships, knowing that others' actions reflect their experiences rather than a personal slight against us. Number 2. Different communication styles. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Plato. Have you ever wondered why some people speak gently while others are more direct? Each person's communication style is part of their identity, shaped by various factors such as environment experiences and the deep values they carry. Stoic philosophy teaches us that to live a peaceful and harmonious life, we must accept and respect this diversity. Think about a conversation with a close friend. You and that person might often talk openly and sincerely, but when you meet a new colleague, you may find their communication cautious and reserved. This can make you feel puzzled or even doubtful. However, from these moments, we can learn patience and the ability to understand, as Jesus taught in the Bible, love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you. Love and empathy are the bridges that help us overcome differences. Have you ever thought that different communication styles reflect the richness and diversity of humanity? Let's delve deeper and accept that each communication style has its value. When we open our hearts to this diversity, we not only enrich our relationships, but also develop wisdom and compassion qualities that Stoicism always encourages in life. Each person's communication style is part of a larger picture of humanity. Learn to accept and respect that difference, and you will see that this very diversity makes our lives richer and more meaningful. When you accept diversity in communication, you embark on a profound journey of understanding and empathy. Remember that every word and every gesture carries its meaning, and our task is to listen with our hearts. It is this respect and empathy that connect us, making the world a better place, just as Stoic philosophy and the teachings of Jesus have guided us for thousands of years. Communication is an art, and not everyone paints with the same brush. Each person has their own style of expressing thoughts, emotions, and needs. What might seem like rudeness to one could be directness to another. Stoicism teaches us to be tolerant of these differences, knowing that communication is deeply influenced by background, culture, and personality. When we expect others to communicate like us, we set ourselves up for frustration and misunderstandings. To compare this to linguistics, consider how different languages use distinct sounds, tones, and sentence structures. Just as a non-native speaker might struggle with the nuances of a foreign language, people may struggle to interpret each other's communication styles accurately. This Stoic insight encourages us to practice active listening, stripping away the emotional charge of someone's words and seeking the underlying message. The words spoken by others are often reflections of their worldview, and expecting uniformity in communication is unrealistic. Instead, we must learn to decipher the intention behind the words, rather than taking them at face value. This cultivates understanding and reduces conflict. Imagine a musician playing a melody in a minor key, while another plays in a major key. Both are creating music, yet the emotional tones are vastly different. Similarly, two people may be expressing themselves truthfully, but the way they do it can sound dissonant to the untrained ear. Stoicism teaches us to listen to the music of communication without letting our own emotional responses distort the tune. By accepting the diversity in communication styles, we create space for healthier interactions. It is a harsh truth that not everyone will communicate in the way we find most comfortable, but with Stoic tolerance, we learn to adapt and respond calmly and wisely. Number 3. Diverse reactions to stress in life. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. Stress is unavoidable. Each of us reacts differently when facing pressure, and this diversity is an essential part of human nature from the perspective of Stoic philosophy. The important thing is not to avoid stress, but to learn how to cope with it. Let's reflect together. Have you ever wondered why some people can remain calm, while others easily succumb to panic? Take a daily example at work. When faced with an important project, some people may feel excited and see it as an opportunity to showcase their abilities. Conversely, others may feel overwhelmed by pressure and fear of failure. Why is there this difference? It is because each person carries unique experiences, values, and coping mechanisms. Jesus also once said, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." This reminds us that faith and patience can help us get through the toughest times. When we trust ourselves and uphold noble values, we find the strength to face stress without being overcome by it. Instead of judging others for how they react to stress, ask yourself, how can I help them? Empathy and mutual support are key to building a strong and united community. Remember, it is during tough times that we truly understand human nature and the value of solidarity. You might ask, how can I apply this philosophy to my daily life? The answer is to start with small things. When facing stress, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this important? What can I learn from it? By practicing calmness and reflection, we can transform stress into valuable lessons. Stress is an inevitable part of life, but how people handle stress varies widely. One person may crumble under pressure, while another thrives in adversity. Stoicism teaches us to understand that reactions to stress are shaped by both internal and external factors: genetics, upbringing, support systems, and personal beliefs. Expecting others to cope with challenges in the same way we do is unrealistic and often unfair. Different materials have varying breaking points under pressure. Glass shatters easily, while steel bends but doesn't break. Similarly, people have different thresholds for stress, and it's not for us to judge whether someone's reaction is appropriate. Stoicism encourages us to focus on controlling our own responses while respecting the reactions of others. This perspective helps us release judgment and offer compassion when others falter under stress. It's a harsh truth that not everyone will be as resilient as we expect them to be. But rather than letting their struggles frustrate us, Stoicism teaches us to accept their limitations and support them where possible. By recognizing that stress affects everyone differently, we become more patient and less reactive ourselves. In life, storms will come, and not everyone will weather them in the same way. Like trees in a forest, some may bend while others stand tall. The Stoic approach is to anchor ourselves in our own strength while allowing others the grace to experience their storm in their way. This acceptance leads to more harmonious relationships and a deeper understanding of human nature. While we cannot control others' reactions to stress, we can control how we respond to them. By practicing Stoic detachment and empathy, we maintain our peace regardless of the turmoil around us. Number 4. Innate judgment. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Marcus Aurelius, in The Journey of Understanding Human Nature. One undeniable truth is that we all possess an innate ability to judge as a Stoic philosopher. I believe that recognizing and understanding this capability helps us live a more compassionate and insightful life. We make judgments every day, from small decisions like choosing breakfast to significant choices that affect our lives. But have you ever wondered why we tend to judge naturally? This stems from an intrinsic human need to protect and maintain personal safety. However, not all judgments yield positive outcomes. Sometimes they cause us to overlook the real values and profound truths within each person. Imagine you are walking down the street and see a beggar. Innate judgment might lead you to think they are lazy or unable to take care of themselves. But if we pause and reflect, their situation could be much more complex, as Jesus taught, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." This teaching reminds us of the necessity of compassion and understanding. Reflect on the story of Jesus in the Bible, when he said, "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." This statement is not only a call for compassion, but also a profound reminder about our ability to judge. Jesus teaches us that we should self-reflect before judging others. This aligns closely with Stoic philosophy, which advises us to focus on controlling ourselves rather than attempting to change or judge others. Our innate ability to judge can be a double-edged sword. It helps us quickly recognize and react to our surroundings, but it also easily leads to misunderstandings and prejudices. Stoic philosophy teaches us to restrain ourselves and think more carefully. Ask yourself, is this judgment truly fair? Do I have all the information needed to assess this person accurately? Stoic philosophy also teaches us that instead of rushing to judgment, we should take the time to understand and empathize. Judgment should come with reflection and compassion, because everyone has their own story. Only when we open our hearts and listen can we truly understand the value and beauty hid within each individual. In doing so, we not only become wiser, but also live a life full of kindness and understanding. Innate judgment is something we all carry, often without realizing it. We are quick to label others based on superficial observations, their behavior, appearance, or beliefs. Stoicism teaches that judgment is often flawed because it's rooted in our own limited perspectives and biases. This harsh truth can be difficult to accept because it forces us to acknowledge the narrowness of our worldview. Consider the concept of cognitive biases, mental shortcuts that lead us to make quick judgments, often inaccurately. These biases, like confirmation bias or the halo effect, cloud our ability to see people and situations clearly. Stoicism encourages us to recognize these biases and practice withholding judgment until we have a fuller understanding. The Stoic practice of suspending judgment allows us to approach others with a more open mind. When we catch ourselves forming an opinion about someone, we can pause and remind ourselves that our perception is only one version of reality. This pause helps us avoid conflicts and misunderstandings that arise from hasty judgments. Instead, we cultivate curiosity and a willingness to see beyond the surface. Imagine a scientist who, after one experiment, draws definitive conclusions. Any good scientist knows that one experiment is not enough to determine the truth. Similarly, when we judge others quickly, we are basing our conclusions on incomplete data. Stoicism encourages us to gather more information, to be patient, and to accept that our initial judgments may be wrong. We should be slow to judge and quick to understand. This acceptance of our own fallibility leads to more thoughtful and compassionate interactions with others, fostering a sense of unity rather than division. Number 5. Common insecurities. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. Insecurity is an inseparable part of human existence present in our minds, like dark clouds obscuring the light of peace and happiness. As a Stoic philosopher, I believe that understanding and accepting insecurity is the first step towards achieving tranquility in life. Common insecurities arise from various sources, including worries about the future, fear of failure, and uncertainty about self-worth. A renowned Stoic philosopher reminded us that how we face insecurity is what truly matters, not the insecurities themselves. Let's consider a specific example. A person worried about losing their job, fearing they are not good enough and might be replaced. This insecurity not only affects their job performance, but also diminishes their confidence and quality of life. However, if we apply Stoic philosophy, we understand that this insecurity stems from trying to control factors beyond our reach. Instead of worrying, we should focus on improving ourselves and doing our best in what we can control. Similarly, Jesus once said, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." This statement aligns with Stoic philosophy, emphasizing the importance of living in the present and not letting worries about the future dominate us. Share your thoughts on applying Stoic principles in daily life. Do you often feel insecure about things beyond your control? How can you change your reaction to these worries? Your story can be a source of inspiration and reflection. Insecurity is a shared human experience. No matter how confident or successful someone may appear, they likely harbor doubts and fears. Stoicism teaches that much of our suffering stems from the way we perceive ourselves and our worth. This truth applies not only to us, but to those around us. When we recognize that insecurity is common, we can approach others with greater compassion. Just as markets are influenced by both visible factors, like supply and demand, and invisible ones, like investor psychology, people's behavior is often driven by insecurities we cannot see. Stoicism helps us understand that outward behavior may be a defense mechanism for inner struggles. When we realize this, we become less reactive and more supportive. Stoicism encourages us to view insecurity as an opportunity for self-reflection rather than a weakness. By accepting our own insecurities, we become better equipped to handle the insecurities of others. This understanding fosters deeper connections because we approach relationships with empathy rather than judgment. We recognize that everyone, regardless of their facade, carries hidden doubts. Just as a building requires a strong foundation to stand tall, humans need a sense of self-worth to navigate life with confidence. Stoicism teaches us to build this inner strength not through external validation, but through self-discipline and self-awareness. When we apply this lesson to others, we offer them the grace and understanding they need to confront their insecurities. Insecurity is universal, but by acknowledging it within ourselves and others, we create a more compassionate and accepting world. Stoicism reminds us that we have the power to change our perception of insecurity and to help others do the same. In the next section, let's explore and embrace these timeless pieces of advice together. Once again, thank you for your continued engagement. Please leave a comment below and join the conversation. Number 6. Self-interest in relationships. The only thing I know is that I know nothing. Socrates. Have you ever wondered why in relationships, whether friendships, romantic connections, or professional associations, people often act out of self-interest? This behavior is not a manifestation of selfishness, but a natural aspect of human nature. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them then or bear with them." This emphasizes that self-interest is a part of being human, and we need to learn to accept and direct it. Self-interest in relationships can be observed in various ways. In love, we seek security, understanding, and support at work. We desire recognition, opportunities for advance, and fair compensation in any relationship. We are always seeking something that fulfills personal needs. This is why we connect, interact, and maintain relationships. Jesus taught, "Love your neighbor as yourself." Loving others does not mean abandoning all personal desires, but learning to balance loving oneself and loving others. When we understand that self-interest is part of our nature, we can learn to direct it to create better and more sustainable relationships. Ask yourself, in your current relationships, are you seeking something solely for yourself, or are you balancing personal interests with the interests of others? Self-interest is not always negative. It drives us to grow, seek improvement, and sometimes motivates us to help others. When we recognize and accept self-interest, we can transform it into a strength that helps build meaningful and lasting relationships. Learn to love yourself and others in a balanced way, and you will find that self-interest is no longer a barrier, but a powerful force that helps you and those around you grow together. Number 7. Projecting thoughts and emotions. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Have you ever noticed yourself judging others based on your thoughts and feelings? This is a common psychological phenomenon that Stoic philosophers call projection. Projecting our thoughts and emotions onto others is a trap that many of us inadvertently fall into. When we feel anxious, we easily believe that others are as anxious as we are. When we feel angry, we tend to think that others have malicious intentions. This not only distorts our perception of the world, but also creates unnecessary misunderstandings and conflicts. Imagine, for instance, you are stressed and tired at work. It's easy to misinterpret a colleague's quietness or lack of attention as indifference or lack of care. In reality, they might be dealing with their pressures. Projecting our emotions onto others not only causes misunderstandings, but also diminishes our capacity for empathy and understanding. Stoic philosophy teaches us that to avoid projection, we need to practice self-awareness and control over our emotions. We must learn to separate our thoughts and feelings from objective reality, allowing us to assess situations more accurately. Jesus' teachings also emphasize the importance of understanding and empathizing with others. He taught, "Love your neighbor as yourself." This encourages us to put ourselves in others' shoes, understanding what they are going through without judgment. Have you ever felt misunderstood by others, simply because you projected your emotions onto them? How can you practice greater self-awareness and understanding in your daily relationships? Share your stories and insights in the comments in life. Each of us has our own set of values, shaped by different experiences, beliefs, and environments. This leads to a rich diversity in how we perceive the world and judge everything around us. But how can we, as followers of Stoic philosophy, accept and respect these differences? One of the most common mistakes people make is projecting their own thoughts and emotions onto others. We assume that others think, feel, and react the same way we do, which often leads to misunderstandings and conflict. Stoicism teaches that our perceptions are not objective reality. They are subjective interpretations filtered through our own experiences and biases. Accepting this harsh truth helps us see others more clearly and interact with them more effectively. Our mind convinces us of things that aren't true, often based on our fears or insecurities. Just as cognitive distortions cloud our judgment, projecting our emotions onto others distorts our perception of their intentions and actions. Stoicism urges us to step back from these projections and recognize them for what they are, products of our own mind. We can catch ourselves when we begin projecting our thoughts and emotions onto others. Stoicism encourages us to take responsibility for our own feelings and reactions, rather than blaming others for them. This shift in mindset allows us to approach relationships with greater clarity and fairness. We begin to see people as they are, not as we imagine them to be. Consider an artist working on a portrait. If they paint over the original image with their own colors and shapes, the result is no longer a true representation of the subject. In the same way, when we project our emotions onto others, we obscure their true nature. Stoicism teaches us to step back, observe, and separate our feelings from the reality of the situation. By recognizing the difference between our thoughts and the actions of others, we gain a clearer understanding of the world around us. This insight fosters healthier relationships and a more peaceful mind. Number 8. Varying values. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. The value of a person is not always immediately apparent, but it profoundly influences how they act and react in life. Jesus also taught, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." This teaching reminds us that everyone is on their unique journey facing their challenges and lessons. Imagine you are working with a colleague whose values are completely different from yours. They might prioritize career advancement and financial success, while you might value peace and family happiness more. Instead of judging or trying to change them, we should strive to understand and respect these differences. By doing so, we not only build harmonious relationships, but also learn new perspectives, enriching our worldview. Ask yourself, how can I learn from the different values of others? How can I apply those values to improve myself? The diversity in values helps us expand our vision and discover new aspects of life. Accepting that others may not share the same values as you is a crucial part of Stoic philosophy. The existence and development of each individual contribute to the collective progress of humanity. When we respect and learn from different values, we truly live according to Stoic principles, achieving deep peace and happiness. Finally, remember that diversity in values is not a weakness, but a strength. It enriches life and helps us grow in our journey of self-discovery and understanding the world around us. Because each individual has different values, we are all driven by different motivations. This is not only a self-evident truth, but also one of the fundamental aspects of human nature. Stoic philosophers recognize that understanding and accepting the differences in each person's motivations is a crucial foundation for living harmoniously and respecting one another. We often assume that others share our values, but the reality is that people hold different beliefs and priorities. What is important to one person may be insignificant to another. This is a harsh truth that can lead to disappointment if we expect others to live according to our values. Stoicism teaches us to accept that varying values are a natural part of human diversity, and it's not our job to impose our beliefs on others. Different countries have different currencies, each with its own value. Just as a dollar in one country may not hold the same value in another, a belief or principle that we hold dear may not have the same weight for someone else. Stoicism reminds us that values are subjective, and trying to force others to adopt our values often leads to conflict and frustration. When we accept that people have varying values, we can approach disagreements with a Stoic mindset. Instead of trying to change someone's values, we focus on understanding their perspective and finding common ground where possible. This doesn't mean abandoning our own beliefs, but it does mean recognizing that others have the right to their own values, even if they differ from ours. Imagine a gardener tending to different types of plants. Each plant requires different care. Some need more sunlight, others more water. Just as the gardener adapts to the needs of each plant, Stoicism teaches us to adapt to the values of others, respecting their differences while staying true to our own principles. By doing so, we create more harmonious relationships and reduce the stress that comes from trying to change others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and beliefs, rather than imposing them on others. Number 9. Differences in motivation. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. The motivation of each individual is shaped by their values, beliefs, and personal experiences. For some, the primary motivation may be career success, while for others it could be love and family. Consider the life of Jesus, who devoted his life to preaching, love, and salvation. His motivation was not in material achievements or worldly power, but in unconditional love and compassion for humanity. His sacrifice and noble mission are the clearest examples of how different goals and values can drive each person. However, differences in motivation are not limited to lofty ideals or distant goals in everyday life. We often encounter situations where personal motivations can clash or conflict with one another. An employee may feel pressured by their boss's expectations for work performance, while their motivation might be to maintain a balance between work and family life. In such moments, the question arises, how can we reconcile these differences? Stoic philosophy teaches us that instead of judging or forcing others to follow our motivations, we should focus on empathy and understanding by respecting each individual's motivations and seeking balance in relationships. We can build a stronger and more harmonious community. Ask yourself, what is motivating you, and are you ready to accept and respect the motivations of those around you? Let these questions guide you on the path to genuine understanding and harmony. Motivation is a deeply personal thing, and what drives one person may not drive another. Some are motivated by money, others by recognition, while some are driven by a desire for personal growth or altruism. This variation in motivation can lead to misunderstandings when we assume that everyone is motivated by the same things we are. Stoicism teaches us to recognize and accept these differences rather than judge them. Different species are motivated by different needs based on their survival instincts. A predator hunts for food, while a bird builds a nest for shelter. Each action is driven by an innate motivation specific to that species. Similarly, humans have varying motivations based on their desires, experiences, and goals. Stoicism encourages us to understand these differences rather than impose our own motivations on others. By recognizing that motivation differs from person to person, we free ourselves from the frustration of trying to change others. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and motivations while allowing others the freedom to pursue their own paths. This understanding leads to more peaceful and productive relationships as we stop trying to force others into our own motivational framework. Imagine a coach working with athletes of varying disciplines. A sprinter is motivated by speed, while a marathoner is motivated by endurance. Just as the coach tailors their training to each athlete's goals, Stoicism teaches us to respect the differing motivations of those around us. without trying to mold them into something they're not. Accept that people are driven by different things, and that's okay. By understanding this, we can better navigate relationships and focus on our own growth without getting caught up in trying to change others. Number 10. The impact of empathy and understanding. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Marcus Aurelius. Empathy and understanding are powerful forces that can bridge the gaps created by the harsh truths of human nature. While Stoicism emphasizes self-control and emotional resilience, it also encourages us to cultivate empathy for others. Understanding the struggles, fears, and motivations of those around us allows us to respond with kindness and compassion rather than frustration or judgment. Just as a doctor must understand the symptoms and experiences of a patient to provide effective treatment, we must understand the emotions and perspectives of others to interact with them effectively. Stoicism doesn't mean detaching from others emotionally. It means controlling our reactions while still being empathetic and compassionate. By practicing empathy, we can reduce conflict and foster deeper connections with those around us. Stoicism teaches us that empathy doesn't mean sacrificing our own peace of mind, but rather approaching others with patience and understanding. This doesn't make us vulnerable, it makes us stronger, as we are better equipped to handle the complexities of human interaction. Imagine a sculptor carefully chiseling away at a block of marble, understanding that each strike must be precise and thoughtful. Similarly, Stoicism teaches us to approach our relationships with care and intention, using empathy to shape our interactions in a positive way. Empathy and understanding are essential tools in navigating the complexities of human nature. By approaching others with a Stoic mindset of compassion and patience, we create more harmonious relationships and contribute to a more peaceful world. Have you ever wondered what creates the strongest connection between people? According to Stoic philosophy, it is empathy and understanding in this complex and challenging life. The ability to put ourselves in others' shoes is not only a noble quality, but also an immense strength that helps us build enduring and meaningful relationships. Empathy is not just about understanding others' emotions, but also about reflecting and genuinely responding to those emotions. Imagine you are with a close friend who is going through the pain of loss. Listening, sharing, and truly feeling their pain provides comfort and strength, not just for them, but also for yourself. Jesus also taught us about the power of empathy through his actions and teachings. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is not merely ethical advice, but a living principle that helps us understand and connect with others at the deepest level. When we practice love and empathy, as Jesus did, we become better versions of ourselves and contribute to creating a better world. A question for you to ponder. When was the last time you truly listened and understood someone? Empathy does not require us to have solutions for every problem, but simply to be present and willing to share the burden with others. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, emphasized, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Take time to listen to others, and you will discover that empathy can open doors that intelligence or talent alone cannot reach in the modern world, where loneliness and isolation seem to be increasing. Empathy and understanding are the most powerful antidotes. Let Stoic philosophy and the teachings of Jesus guide you on the path to empathy and understanding, so you can create deep and meaningful connections, enriching your life and the lives of those around you. The journey of exploring the 10 truths you need to accept about people through the lens of Stoic philosophy has opened a new door for us to understand and accept human nature. Each truth, from how experiences shape us to the power of empathy and understanding, is a building block for a peaceful and meaningful life. Let these truths illuminate your path, helping you face life with patience, understanding, and love. Remember, everyone is on their journey, and accepting and respecting these differences is the key to genuine and lasting relationships in every moment of life. Practice patience and empathy, listen and understand, so that you not only live, but truly exist meaningfully. By applying this philosophy to everyday actions, you will find that the power of empathy and understanding not only improves others' lives, but also enriches your soul. Thank you for joining us in exploring these profound truths. We hope that through this video, you have found valuable lessons to apply to your life, helping you become a better version of yourself. If you found this video helpful, please like it to support the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Share the video with friends and family to spread the wonderful values of Stoic philosophy. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss upcoming videos on Stoic living and personal development.